Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let Loose with Lou. I'm here with my host, Steve. Hi,
What's up,
Steve.
Lou? What's up, guys? Good to be back.
Hopefully, you guys had, well, by the time this airs, I think it's going to be even Christmas. So, hopefully, you had a great Thanksgiving and Christmas and a New Year.
That's
Probably
right.
by then.
Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
hmm And we have Chris, our guest, Chris.
Once again.
That's it. Our co-host slash guest. Hello. Chris is always great. So um I have to tell you guys something that happened. I have to tell you what happened to me on Monday. And I don't know how to explain it. And I'm hoping that either Steve or Chris can help me out or even Solomon. So on Monday, I walk out of my house and I have a bag that I put all my food, all my stuff in, right? And I'm on a corner lot. I have a huge pine tree on my property. And I walk out and I usually have my keys stuck to my bag and something said, "Put your keys on your hands." Like like, put your keys on keep your keys in your hands. And I was like, why am I getting this sense of, like being told, keep your keys in your hands? So I was like, is something going to happen to me? Like, is it a premonition? What is it? So I grab my keys and, it's like a little wristlet. I put it through my wrist. I have a little knife. I know it doesn't do much harm, but if I get the right artery, it's going to do enough, right, to run. So I lock the door and then I turn around. I look at the sky and it's bright. Like still bright, like still, like literally as if the earth wasn't breathing.
Mm.
It's weird. And I said to myself, this is at 5:15, by the way, in the morning. This is at 5:15. And I'm like, this is kind of odd. I feel like I'm in like in a different dimension. Like I felt that way and I wasn't drunk. I I wasn't on mushrooms or weed or anything like that.
Too bad.
Nothing. Like literally
Too bad.
that would have been a good trip, right? And so I said, why is the sky so bright? Then I noticed that I didn't hear no cars. I noticed that I didn't hear the top handlers beeping, the UTRs, the cranes moving. Because from my house, you could hear everything that goes on, like detailed. And so I was like, well, this is strange. What's going on? Why is it so quiet? So I walked to my car and I'm still looking up, like, what's going on? So I would normally walk around my car and I put my bag through the car, but I'm always standing out, right? Like I'm standing and I'm reaching over, putting my stuff. Something says, don't do that. Put it through the door, your passenger door. So I said, you know what? At this point, something's weird, something's off. So I'm going to just listen to my intuition. And then I started to feel freaked out. Like I started to feel like, is something gonna happen to me? Like, is somebody gonna attack me? Like, what's gonna happen? Like I started feeling like anxious, right? So I start like looking up and down the streets and everything was still. Like still.
Mhm.
And nothing moved, no lights were on, like nothing. It was completely bare, but the sky was bright. So I put my bag, close the door, and I'm looking around. I go around the car, and so my truck sits up high. So I grab the handle with my left hand because at this point I'm paying attention to everything that's going on. I grab the handle, and as soon as I proceed to pull to open, something goes whoop, like zooming, like whoop, like just like a split second, right? And then hits the roof of my truck. Like,
Oh, an
yeah.
owl.
No, that thing was a lot bigger than it looked like a man bat. Like it was a black cloud, black shadow, black something. But it went like this, like it stretched its arms and went like like it just like went like boom and like grabbed onto like the roof to my car. Like, it was weird. It was sorry, I know I'm telling you it was weird. No kidding, right?
Happy Halloween. We went to say Happy Halloween.
Yeah. I would no, but it was freaky because when I felt that zoom,
Yeah.
I said, "Oh fuck." That's what I said to myself, right? And I kind of like squint down, like like it was going to hit me. And then I looked up from the corner of my eye and it was like this shadow. And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like I literally said to myself, "What the fuck is that?" Like what the fuck? So I quickly said to myself like, "You know what? My dad got me. He's up in heaven. Nothing's going to happen to me." I blessed myself before I left the house and I prayed because my mama taught me right. Sí. Así me enseñaron. you know? And so I said, "I'm not afraid of you." Like, and so when I looked up, it disappeared and like there were lights on the streets and everything.
Yeah.
So what the fuck was that? Because it's bothering me. And
Wow.
I wasn't drunk. I wasn't on any I mean, like, literally, like, it was 5:15 and 5:20-ish in the morning, and this black cloud just I don't know
You
where
you need to burn some sage.
I do all the time.
Oh.
I always do, like, I'm
You
like,
walk around your car with it? Burn
I'm
it,
probably
put it
gonna
on the inside and walk around it and
Isn't that weird, though? Like,
What do you think that was?
I don't okay, so I spoke to my friend, she goes, "Do you think it's the" I don't wanna say the D word, and no, it's not dick.
No, it's not dick.
It's not that type of D word. Yeah, it was the, the not so nice person. But I don't know because the sensation was so fast. Like the premonition like kind of worked me up. I don't know. I don't know. Like if I had my bag, would I have dropped it? Would a car came across? I don't know.
So let me ask you some questions. So
Okay.
you said that it made physical contact with the car?
Yes, it felt like
But
okay.
when you looked at it, it was like a formless shadow that then
Yes, because I
left.
looked at it from my peripheral side of
Mm.
my eye, like I was like this. So I basically went like this. I was like, "What the fuck?" And I bent down, right? And then I looked up from the corner of my eye, and then I saw it just like stretched and grabbed onto like the roof of my car, and I said, "What the fuck is that?"
So did it make noise?
Yes, it went vroom, like
No, did the shadow thing make noise itself?
Was it,
besides that noise.
was it black or what?
Yes, it was black, like completely black, like black.
Was
It
there any
lo-
damage to your car?
You know what? I haven't even looked at the top of my car because I was like, I'm not gonna go there. I was like, you should have seen me the next day trying to get in the car. I was like tippy toeing, but I am gonna look to see what is on. Yeah, I am because it was
Video? Is that what he said?
no. If I checked if there was any damage to
On
it,
the
Yeah,
top
but
of the
do you have
car.
video or a camera or anything?
I have a ring, so I should probably check it.
Go back and look.
I
and see.
am gonna. You know what? I should. That's a good one
Yeah.
because it was just like the zooming.
Could just be some kind of entity or something that was
But that would explain because
some
my
spirit.
the whole morning was off. Like the minute I walked out, I turned around and I was like, "There's no air." Like there was no air. Like I mean, I was
Still,
breathing, but
calm.
yes, like still, like there was no breeze, no wind, and where I live, you hear the noise of the freeway, especially at that time. There's cars coming through there because everybody's going to work. There was nothing, like nothing, and I keep like replaying
What do
it.
you make of that? What is your answer to what this was?
I don't have an answer because I didn't
I think you're
feel.
afraid to say what you think it is. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I don't know. What do you think it is? That's why I'm
Well,
asking.
what I'm hearing you say is you're like, well, Steve, it wasn't a hawk, it wasn't an owl,
No, it was like
right? So what was that?
no. Do you think it was a spirit?
What do you think?
I'm asking you. I mean, I'll tell you what I think, but you're the one that was there.
I mean, it was
You
a
just spraying
shadow.
this on me. I'm gonna come here. I'm just a surprise for you and Chris
Yeah.
to figure out. I'm like, oh God,
Oh.
she's pregnant.
I think
I'm like, what's it gonna be?
I think you
And-
took an edible too
ADD.
late.
You know what? I'm telling you, I'm like the cleanest of the cleanest. Like I don't drink heavily, even though people swear I do. I don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
I maybe will occasionally, once every couple of years, do like a mushroom tea.
Well, where's your spirituality at right now?
Well, it's good. I mean, I've been happy. Everything's great. Like, I don't.
Well, maybe it's a test.
Do you think there's anybody out there that would issue ill will? Like they're like, I really have it out for
Oh, I'm pretty
somebody
sure.
is
Yeah, a lot of. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's maybe one or two haters. You are my hater out there. You're not scaring me, sending that black shadow at me.
It sounded like you were pretty scared.
Well, I was at the beginning. Well, I was startled, okay? I was startled because literally I tried to open the door to my car and I'm like, why am I feeling like this?
Louis, did you get the sense that this
Like, I'm
thing
sweating right now.
was making
Look.
had an accident,
Yeah.
or do you think that this thing had like a purpose? Did the sense that it was like, oh shit, I crashed into the car. I meant to be not crash, or do you think it was like deliberately doing something?
I don't
to you.
know.
So-
Well, that's the thing. I'm puzzled because I didn't feel, I don't know, like if it's a spirit, it was a black spirit, obviously, right? Like a dark spirit. But I didn't see a face. I just saw that it clamped.
Are
It
you
like
sure it wasn't an owl that swooped down and made that noise and took off fast? Because those things make that, they are very silent, and the noise they make when they do their wings.
like a 6-7 foot.
Oh, owls are huge. They have a huge wingspan.
Ones around here, they're big.
They have owls have a very big
They're
wingspan.
big.
So are we saying there was something on the roof of her car that an owl got attracted to and came down and got it?
Well, it could have been. It could have. I have a story that someone that I was dating shared with me when they were in Idaho, and their significant other at the time was standing out somewhere in on their property, and this owl swooped down and landed on its head, on his head. And owls don't do that. So when they're threatened, I think, or when they feel, like you're too close or something's going on, they will come and mess with you. But they're
there
very
was-
silent. They're very silent.
Oh, I know a difference between an owl
Yeah.
and
So
a shadow.
was it out of the corner of your eye, or was it right in front of you?
No, so my car's right
Was
here
it
on
the
the
hood
side.
or the roof?
The roof.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it sits up, and so when I went to open my door, I heard like a zoom. It was like zoom, like
Is there any trees around your place?
yes, I do have a
pine tree,
huge
she said.
pine tree,
Yeah.
but nothing. I mean, that you could hear when there's crows in there, when there's squirrels, you could hear like the,
Yeah.
Owls
are quiet. You won't hear an owl. They'll
Okay.
come down and they're on top of you. Then you'll hear that whoosh.
How did you say it disappeared?
It just disappeared. It vanished.
Like in a puff of smoke, like it sort of broke apart, or it just went away suddenly?
No, it just went away. So when I opened the door and I looked and I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, oh my God. Like I closed my eyes and I was like, oh my God, what is it? And I said, okay, my dad's with me. He's down looking at me down from heaven. And I'm like, I already blessed myself because my mom always tells me to bless myself. And I was like, and I prayed. I was like, Jesus, is going to be a good day today. Well, however, wherever I'm at, blah, blah, blah. I'm always trying to be optimistic and happy when I walk out the door. But that thing caught me just caught me off guard. It was weird. And it just looked like it like hovered. It looked like it just hovered over my roof of my.
Do you have a
Truck.
sense? You don't have a sense of it like it wanted to do something to you versus just it was just some sort of accident.
I don't know because I don't know. Like I don't know what to feel.
Well, I'll give you my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Chime in now and provide my thoughts on the encounter.
I'm even sweating now. I'm sweating.
Look, so we're gonna go both ways. I'm gonna play it both ways. I'm gonna play it the maybe it's an owl, and I'll play maybe it's some sort of spiritual phenomenon. So to join Chris, like the owls in our area are big, and I know because I've seen them, and I actually had my own personal experience with one that got stuck in our jacuzzi.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and I got it out. So I'll briefly just tell the story, and then bring it back to you. Is I went outside in the middle of the night, and this owl was stuck in the jacuzzi.
Oh.
And these are apex predators.
Yep.
They don't have anything to be afraid of, and
Right.
this thing was afraid. And I came out, and human beings are apex predators.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this encounter, the two of us. Like he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he was like, he could see that if I wanted to, I could just kill him. And so I looked at this bird and I grabbed the pool skiff, the net, and said, "I'm gonna get you out."
Yeah.
You
Made
had
eye
a touch.
contact with them, and they have great eyes,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They have night vision. They can see.
Yes.
They call it the night eagle.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I put the skiff under him, and he like shuffles across the jacuzzi, afraid of me. So I looked at him again. I go, "I'm gonna get you out." And then the second time, I could feel his talons grab onto
To the net.
the net, and I put that big boy up on the deck.
Mhm.
And then he did what Chris said. He just kind of shook his wings out, and they were really magnificent and wide.
Like how
He
wide?
looked at me like one last time, like apex to apex, and then off he
Took off.
flew. And it was like a kind of like a whoosh whisper sound,
Very quiet.
but off he went. And so on the one hand, right, I think, is it possible that maybe an owl slammed into your
No.
top of your car and made that kind of noise?
I would have seen it take off, and
Mm-mm.
the top of my truck, it's like a plastic, so anything that goes on it, even claws, it'll go, and no, it was definitely, I know what
So we're gonna go the other way. The other way is you had some sort of encounter with some spiritual phenomena, right? And you can't detect whether it was accidental or deliberate, or if it wanted to harm you in some way, but you nonetheless encountered this black object of sorts. And what my experience says is for you to trust your intuition on that. And I think what you're afraid to say is that it's not Dracula, right? And that's like some form of like a dark entity, a demon of sorts.
Well,
That's what that's what you're saying, right?
It
Like
could
maybe-
have been, but I mean, like, I'm thinking, why would it come to me? Like, there's no.
So here's my experience of that. Like, have you been doing negative things in your life that would attract something dark like that?
No.
Or do you have bad relationships with someone who like plays in those dark magic places that are like, I'm gonna do like a whatever voodoo
That-
thing, and
No, that could never. That's one thing that that I'm covered and protected, because I work on that myself. But to protect myself,
you don't think
But-
there's someone in your life that would like issue ill will in this kind of way?
I'm pretty sure in everybody there's
And
always.
you don't think you're
somebody.
doing like dark. You're not doing negative things in your life that would attract this.
No. I mean, I'm not doing anything negative. Everything's been positive. And so I know it wasn't the black evil man. I don't want to say his
Devil.
name. Nah, don't say that. You don't want to invite him here.
Okay.
He's all okay.
But not. Oh, you don't think that's that?
Okay, and so can I explain why?
Yeah.
I've seen him twice already.
That's very rare, ladies and gentlemen. Let the record reflect it. That's very rare. Not once, but twice.
twice.
We want to know about that.
What did you see twice?
The bad evil black devil.
Oh.
Man.
I thought he
Prince of
was red.
Darkness?
Huh?
I thought he was red.
No, he
It's-
was
How
all
did that?
black.
How did that?
I like the
happen?
Prince of Darkness better.
Okay, well, say he's not no prince. He's horrible. He's in his breath.
Oh, it's a fallen
I'm just
angel.
kidding. Oh yeah.
You could say
True.
fallen angel.
So my first experience was one of my best friends. Her husband committed suicide in their apartment. He was trapped. He trapped her in their bedroom, and he shot himself.
Yeah.
And she was freaked out. She called me. I had to run to the house. I went there. Brought her to my house. She stood with me for a little bit. She was completely distraught. She wasn't in a good state of mind. Well, she was sleeping right next to me because I was afraid that she might want to take her life, or or she wasn't sleeping well. So I figured, okay, sleep on that side of the bed. So one night, she was like moving, like shaking, and I was like, what the hell is that? There was the black angel, dark angel, whatever you want to call him,
Yeah.
over her. And I was like, what
You
the-
saw that?
Yes.
You woke up and you
Yes.
saw that.
Yes. And his eyes were red, his body was all in black, and his mouth was like hot, and he had like the ugliest teeth. And when he spoke, he was like horrible.
What did he say?
He said that he wanted to take her. Oh, yes, like that. Just like that. That's freaking
There's the
crazy.
Vincent Thomas Bridge right there too, out in the
Dude,
background.
wait a minute. It is. Where did you get that?
Photo from outside your house.
Yeah, I don't think
That's
that's
so
Vincent
messed
Thomas.
up.
No, God damn. That is like seriously how it felt. Like, and look, just like that. But I didn't look at the eyes because I was so afraid to even look at it. But that's exactly, it was like that. And it was like a bat
So,
person. Like it just like
how-
grabbed onto my car on the side.
did you experience fight or flight?
What's that?
Well, your reaction to something like
Like-
that when you're put in a position.
Fight or
It's-
flight is your instincts. Like in the moment
your
of,
instinct.
of like emergency, do you want to fight or do you want to run away?
Well,
Or
no,
do you freeze?
I froze. Wait, which time?
Well, with the
Well, let's do it
The
one
black-
at a time. The one
Yeah.
you're
Black
talking about
thing.
now.
Okay, so with my best friend. So he was hovering over her and he said that he wanted to take her.
Mhm.
But like he wanted to put his mouth over her mouth, like to like suck her soul. And I was like, you're not taking her, you're not taking. So I think she was paralyzed. I think she was paralyzed and she couldn't wake up and she was waking me up. That was my first encounter. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And she said, I couldn't wake up. And I said, whatever it was after you. She thinks it could have been maybe her ex-husband. I don't know. That was the first time. Years later, I moved to my new house. I'm asleep in my room. My son was in his room. And my son at that time was battling drugs and alcohol. So he was really bad, like really bad. He couldn't sleep. The moments that he did sleep, he was he was in the worst, darkest time of his life. That night, I woke up with a pressure over my chest. And when I woke up, I saw his face over me. And he was over me and said, I'm taking your son from you. And I said, the fuck you are. And like I even get the chills right now thinking about it because I was like trying to get up to like save my son and I couldn't. And he kept saying, I'm taking him from you. And I was like, you're not. Nope. That's my son. I'm his mother. You're not going to take him. I gave birth to him. I gave birth. So I was so freaked out that morning, that was like mid morning, my son came to me and he had said that he had a dream of that. And I was like, what? He had seen him at that same time and came to me
Mm.
and told me he wanted to take him. But just the feel of, so that's why I know that the two were not related because I've seen that twice trying to take someone that I've loved and tried to protect so much.
Mhm.
And the second time was the same as the first time. The same look, the mouth, just like the mouth was like, when you see a hungry dog,
Mhm.
like that. And he's just like just like that.
You're
that
being
sound.
tested.
Yeah, it sounds like a test or like
You're being
you were
tested.
spiritually attacked.
Yeah, you're being. I mean, I believe in energy, and there's a lot of that energy out there. It's how we respond to it is what's important, you know.
I said,
mean,
baby Jesus, you're on my side.
and that's the thing is how close are you when your religion and your in that whole area is has an effect on maybe you're being.
Well, I pray every morning. I do. It might not look like I do.
Man,
But-
what does that look have to do with it?
I don't know because people,
You're-
I'm all
that-
mouthy.
Yeah, that's your thing,
But I do though. Before I leave home, I always pray. I always say, "Dear God, thank you for another morning, of being awoken, and today's gonna be a great day." And I always walk out of the house like positive. I always do. And my mom always says, "Ya te persinaste?" I'm like, "See," I'm like, "Okay, let me bless myself. All right, baby Jesus, it's gonna be a good day. Let's go." So I was so happy that morning. I was so happy. I woke up, got ready, I took my time, had my coffee in my hand and everything, and I was like, what is that? I'm like, so I was thinking like, what the hell could it have been? Like what? It could not. I know it wasn't an animal. I know for a fact it was not an animal because the look from it looked like that picture. Like, but
Go check your cameras.
I
If you
am
got a
gonna
Ring
do
camera,
that.
check it and see. Go back
I
and see if you
am.
can find it. But
And the whole the whole morning felt still.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like
Quiet,
it
still.
was the
Yeah.
weirdest thing, and we don't ever get quiet mornings there because we have the port that
Mhm.
runs 24 hours, right? So we hear the beep,
Yeah.
beep, 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 brr, the cans slamming. And
Well, look how it's affecting you. That has a pretty good impact on you.
well, it did because I'm wondering what was it like.
Yeah, yeah, I don't.
I think you know what it was, and it's just kind of a hard one to believe.
You think it was death?
Maybe.
Mm.
Let me ask you a quick. Can I ask you some questions about the event?
Absolutely, go
So,
right ahead.
with your friend whose husband or boyfriend killed himself,
Her husband, yes.
what was he or were they involved in drugs and alcohol? Were they doing kind of negative things?
Mm, maybe back then. I mean, you drank, but besides that, I don't. She was never on alcohol. I mean, on drugs. I'm sorry. Alcohol, of course, we all
Was he? Do
drank. That I don't know because I wasn't close to him. He was a pretty eccentric guy.
you know more about why he chose to kill himself,
Um,
or was it very impulsive?
no, he was very. How do I say it? He was a narcissist for sure.
Mm.
He was a huge narcissist. I mean, to where she wasn't sure, or she was afraid of leaving.
Mm.
So I don't know. I mean, of what we spoke, this was like 20 years ago. Of what we spoke about, she was afraid of leaving, but I mean, like he would like lock down the house. I mean, obviously,
He was
he
like a domestic violence partner. He was like
probably,
locking her
yes.
in, controlling things.
Yeah, it was just bad. Like she would just, I
So he was
felt,
doing a lot of negative things.
yes. And I know that he wanted to probably kill her and take her with him, but um I mean, thank God it didn't happen. I don't know
Do you
how
think that it's
she got
possible that it was the spirit of him that came back to do that? It was like,
to
I'm
get
gonna.
her definitely.
Mhm.
To get her, but the thing is that that same form was the same form that came over me when it came to my son.
Let me ask you,
Mhm,
with your, you can,
mhm.
what type of drugs was he using?
Oh, my son was popping mollies and weed and who knows what else. I mean, I don't know if he was into
Mhm.
coke or I mean, he was just partying. He was raving and just the
Mhm.
alcohol was I mean, like his body collapsed at one point and I had to take him to the emergency. They had to detox his
Yeah.
body. Like it was bad. It was really bad.
Well, I'll give you some kind of old wives' tale stuff and some that I know about alcohol and drugs, that might be relevant to this. So, one is sort of anecdotally what I've seen with people who use methamphetamine
Mhm,
is, now there's no like scientific data for this, just what I've seen is, it seems to a lot of people who get really hooked on meth that
mhm,
it opens up a door
mhm,
to hell or a very negative place where whatever's over there can see you and you can see them, and it's part of this methamphetamine sort of psychosis that I've seen a
mhm,
lot of times. That could be a thing. And then there's like the old term of spirits, right? Where people say like, oh, whatever, Gus's Seafood and Spirits restaurant, right? People
mhm,
like spirits, and alcohol is the term spirits. And what that meant historically was, the alcohol would
mm.
puncture a hole in your auric field,
I've heard
and
that.
the spirits would be above these bars waiting to dive in, and then you'd see like a man who was one
Vulnerable.
way
Yeah.
in his sobriety, then like get in a fight or say mean things or
Oh,
sleep
that
with a woman
makes
that's not his
sense.
spouse, and that like
Yeah.
they say like spirits like the alcohol will puncture the hole in your
Ooh.
auric field, and then a spirit can come in and make a person do things that they wouldn't normally do. That's part of my wonder about this man that you were saying earlier who was narcissistic, is there's these different,
Yeah,
healers of sorts who say that they have the ability to kind of control your brain, make you do things, insert thoughts, insert feelings if you're not spiritually well.
she was so destroyed, like bad. Like
Yeah, sounds like it.
yeah, it was bad. I mean, I've had family members and that have shot themselves, committed suicide, and but I can't fathom the thought of being in the room while someone does it. Like that's the
It's
hard
pretty
part.
pretty pretty traumatic.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah. I just know that she wasn't in the right place, and when I seen her body the way it was, and she was struggling to get up or like to move. Like I felt like she was like trying to get my attention. And when I woke up and seen that, and I was in all these times, I've always been like in my right state of mind. I've always been in the right state of mind. So it's like, what in the hell? Like,
So let
why?
me ask you, so having had the experience, do you have an intuition about what you need to do, having had this recent encounter with the shadow and the car and the whole thing? Like, what do you need to do?
I don't. You know what? I don't know. I have been trying to analyze like what was it, because I know the two times that I have encountered, and it didn't look like that. It didn't look like that. It
Yeah.
it did not look like that. It was dark. It looked like that, but without the eyes, because I didn't see the eyes.
See how much power it has over you right now?
Well, I wanted
It
it,
does. It has a lot of
but
power over you right now because it's
because I
gotten into
can't
your head.
because I can't explain it, and it's
Well,
driving me crazy
you
because
probably won't ever be able to explain
yeah.
it.
I mean,
But
I could like I was able to explain when it happened to my best friend.
yeah,
I was able to explain like when it happened to my son.
yeah.
And I was talking to my son yesterday. He goes, "Oh, he goes, you didn't believe when I told you that I drank, I seen him, the devil like right there." And I was like, "Well, yeah, because it
You
was like right there at the same
yeah.
time." It's
Well, I mean, like I'll go through the house that I'm living in right now, and sometimes I'll get a weird feeling.
mm.
Like
You own your home?
no,
No.
I don't own this one,
Uh-huh.
but I own the one in Oregon.
Yes,
But
yes.
the one down here that I'm staying at, my roommate, it's his house. He grew up with his parents lived there, and everybody lived there, so it's still got a lot of his parents' stuff in it, and they're both deceased and gone. And I'm a big believer in energy,
Mhm.
and when we leave our body,
Mhm.
I still think that the spirits are talking.
Oh,
Like my family. Like
yeah,
I'll have a
absolutely.
thought or whatever. So
Oh, I believe in that too. When my
it's
brother-in-law passed away,
yeah.
he used to come in my dreams and talk to me all the time.
I remember as a kid, my grandmother's my dad's mom used to like to really religious, and I was reading the Bible in high school,
Mhm.
and I remember somewhere in there it talked about paying don't pay too close attention to your thoughts because your mind is trying to trick you,
Mm.
and that's helped me over the years
Mhm.
because we're constant. I mean, for me, I'm constantly thinking, you know, not it doesn't probably have anything to do with what you're talking about,
Yeah.
but
But it's true though. Sometimes you overthink and then you oversee things, right?
yeah,
But I was so happy. I
it could
walked out
be.
of the house
Well,
happy.
it's maybe that's why. Maybe that's why you're so happy and you're on the right path, and now you're being tested to try to just steer you away from that.
I mean, I don't think it has because I mean, I make it a point to wake up happy. I'm like, I forbid to wake up angry unless I don't get enough sleep. Mm,
Yeah.
then I do. But I don't know. It was just, I don't feel fear from it. I definitely do not feel fear at
Oh,
all.
okay.
I
Hmm.
don't.
Even the moment you didn't when
At
it
the moment,
happened?
I was startled.
Oh.
I was startled because, I mean,
It was so fast.
it was so fast, and it was like I looked all around. I even looked up at my pine tree, and I was like, "Oh God, why is it so vivid?" I was like, "What is wrong with the morning? It doesn't feel
Mm,
natural. It just didn't feel natural. It didn't feel like it normally does." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." I was just like, "Da da da da,"
yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like, "Whoom," and I was like, "Ah, what the fuck was that?"
It might have been neighbor's bad juju. Somebody in the neighborhood. I mean, I'm a believer in that. Like I I bought this house in Oregon, and it's been one headache after another because probably the person that was living in it beforehand was really bad.
Mm.
Really bad.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So, I mean, the energy,
Have you
I'm
got it
big,
blessed?
huh?
Have you got the house blessed?
No,
Oh,
I'm not living in it. So,
oh yeah, but
but
you
I should
should.
probably do
Yeah.
something like that. But I mean, I'm a firm believer in positive and negative energy,
Oh, and so am I. That's the thing.
and so that therefore, when something like that happens, it's like, what am I doing? What could I be doing? What to change the fear that I was? I mean, it may not have been fear for you, but it might have been fear for me.
Mhm.
You know, so I got to evaluate that. But
Yeah, the thing is that I believe in spirits
yeah,
because I've seen them and I believe in them. I've spoken with them. I know I sound like a freak, but I'm sorry. That's just how I am. But I didn't feel fear, so I don't know. Like it's unexplainable because I came out of the house so happy and I wasn't thinking or expecting that. But then it's like, what the fuck? Like it was just off. So I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna die out for me, but I
well,
did want to explain
you're
this because I was like, it was.
stronger than me because I probably would have been scared shitless. I would have been pulling out my gun, pointing at where to go.
Well, I just like I cringed. Like I like was like, ah. I went like, ah, like,
Yeah,
I was like, ah, because my truck sits up higher than I do.
yeah.
But it was just the zoom and it nothing went like nothing did that. Like on the roof of the truck. Nothing hit. Nothing.
Pray for some clarity on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm probably gonna do.
S-
What are you thinking there,
Steve,
Steve?
can I,
And there we have it in this episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
Another unsolved mystery.
Oh. Ugh.
Life's a journey. Sometimes we have certainty and sometimes we
We
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
We've had the questions. We have some answers,
Soon
but
to
still a mystery.
yes. Maybe it might still be a
You're gonna have to
mystery.
you're gonna have to keep us posted.
Yep. Well, okay. Oh, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to keep
My
you
gut
guys
says it was a
updated.
one-off experience and we're in the clear.
Well, hopefully, let's just hope because whatever it is, I don't want it back. Put it that way.
You got a front lawn?
I do.
Pitch a tent.
I was like,
See how-
go. Oh,
Wait to see what comes around.
oh my god. I was like, I'm like, go. Nobody wants you here. I was like, I was.
Bigfoot's real,
Oh, Bigfoot.
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch. Oh my god.
hey, before you guys get off that subject, Steve, I wanted to ask you a question. Do you think, because she basically said it was bright outside and she couldn't hear anything. Do you think there are any potential medical conditions, temporary or otherwise, that could have sort of, given her those effects, and maybe that sound was something that might have snapped her out of it?
I mean, anything that's possible, right? Like there are these sort of different anomalies that occur in people's life. I don't know. I can't think offhand of any particular medical condition that would have that type of symptomology, but anything's possible.
That's crazy though. Like okay, I didn't say this earlier, but now that I'm thinking, because Solomon had said that, I I felt like I was this if this makes sense, like if it was 3D dimensional, like weird. Like, does that make sense?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, if, from a spiritual perspective, I suppose that like maybe you were maybe for a moment you were whisked to a different place,
Yeah, outer
or
body.
like from a medical perspective,
I've
like
been out of
maybe
body experiences
is it
before.
possible that you were actually in a dissociated state of being where you were moving about in your body but not really oriented in the here and now, and then that sound or whatever kind of snapped you into consciousness?
But how? I mean, I was conscious to brush my teeth, brush my hair, like,
Or
but
like
those
sleepwalking. There's those instances of
no.
sleepwalking where people like they do all these different things. They like get in the car and
But I wouldn't look pretty to go to work if I was sleepwalking. I would have been in my PJs, you
well, we
know?
all know about your beauty
So
sleep.
what-
I'm sure it wasn't very hard.
What's the significance, the most significant thing out of this experience that, like, you don't know what it was, all this stuff, but so what about it specifically that's really bugging you that, like,
That I can't grasp,
You want to
like,
know?
know what it is. Because this is what I said to myself: is it death? Like, is it? And then I didn't feel any, like,
Emotion there.
yes, exactly. I was just kind of like, I don't know if it was or wasn't. Oh, a temporary lack of hearing. could potentially be a symptom of a condition called Usher syndrome. A genetic disorder affecting both hearing. I can't hear and I am half blind. I can't be.
Well, that's what I say. Temporary, bright light, lack of hearing.
Yeah. Well, whereabouts in Pedro, right?
Yeah, right behind Target, between Target and Home Depot.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
I
Down by Gaffey, down in that area.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like I am. So one thing about me is that I am always paying attention to like noises.
Yeah.
If I see like a bright light, I'm like, what is that? I'm like, my eyes are gonna be wide open and I'm gonna be like, let me see what that is. And I will investigate. I'm like, but I don't know. And it was just weird because everything has been going great at home. Everything's been great. At work, everything's been great in my life. Like there really hasn't been any reasons why any negativity has to have approached me, or I mean, like health wise, I'm good. Knock on wood. Let's see. I mean, knock on wood. Yes. Come on, Chris. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, we'll figure it out. I mean, I guess I don't know. And if I can't explain it, then I just can't
Go
explain
check
it.
your Ring camera and then
Or
see
you
what
won't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my story.
happens.
Well, let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't have another encounter.
Right? Are we doing a full?
We're gonna end this.
Oh, we are.
We're gonna end it and we're gonna come back on a next episode. But I want to thank our guests
Yeah.
for watching. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Hopefully you enjoyed our episode. Do not forget to
Comment, like, subscribe, and you know what? Special request, because she's in the realm of mystery here. If you have any experience with this kind of stuff,
Paranormal.
plop it in the comment box so we can check it out and give her some more ideas about what that might have been.
Please let us know what you think and if you have had an experience. But until then,
Awesome.
thank you guys for watching.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.